the effects.
That's it. They're up.
There's bad radio, good radio, and chaotic radio. In that order.
The Black Lung Show, the Black Lung, the Black Lung Show, the Black Lung, the Black Lung Show, the Black Lung, the Black Lung Show, and starting fucking now.
That's right. You're listening to the Black Lung Show on the world famous chaoticradio.com. Was that just in my headphones, Mike? Was it all fuzzy and fucked up already?
Yeah, that's just the headphones.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on. So never mind. You didn't hear that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Black Lung Show. I'm your host, Ryan Pena. I am joined in studio with my buddy Mike, who's been engineering for me on the show now for... How long you been here with it now, dude?
This will be our 6th show together.
All right, man.
Yes.
Happy 6th anniversary.
There you go, 6th anniversary.
That's right. We're also on YouTube. I'm still learning all this stuff. Wave at you guys. What's up, YouTube? What is it? What's the YouTube thing anyway? You know that, right?
Yeah. Just go to YouTube, Kaotic Radio, and then you'll see the live stream right there.
Okay, Chaotic Radio spells with a K because someone who started this place is crazy.
Yeah,
they spell
crazy.
They're crazy, man. So anyway, check it out. For everybody listening, and I guess I might as well introduce them now because they're already seeing us on live streaming. You see the back of his head. This sexy man in studio is Elias Matar.
Hello, everybody.
He is a friend of mine. He's a filmmaker. And let me do this. I got to do the preface. And this show, you know, if you listen to the show, you know it goes everywhere because, I mean, look, I'll show you the cheat sheet, Elias. Look, those are the questions that I have planned. So that's how I do every show. Oh, it's how I roll, brother. It's how I roll.
That's all right.
Hey, so check it out. The Black Lung Show is mostly a music show. So when you guys tune in every week, I'm usually interviewing a band. 90% of the time. Every once in a blue moon, I flip the script a little bit. Doing that today. But first, before I talk about that, I played a show last night. I want to say thanks to everybody that came out to the Highbrow. Thanks to Gavin and Fred from Gutter Snipe Rebellion. I have brain farting already, who I played with last night. For putting on the show. The Dirty Priests were awesome last night. We raised some money for Luce, who's got stage 4 lung cancer. That's Jimmy's girlfriend. She couldn't make the show, unfortunately. They have a GoFundMe thing. I'll try to figure out what link it is, and I'll post it up on the Black Lung Show page so you can check it out. And then we also played the Lesoffs. They were great as well. And then just out of the blue, Monkey from the Attic showed up. Punk rock legend right there. Just came and showed his support, and we autographed some. He autographed some stuff for us. We got a phone call already. Damn. Yeah, Elias hasn't even said a word, and people are already calling in. Let's.
I haven't said a word, man.
All right. Well, let's get right to. Go ahead, plug it in, Mike.
All right, we're good to go.
I have a feeling I know who this is. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello, this is Ezekiel Martinez Jr. calling. How's everything?
It's good. We knew. I do right off the bat, dude. Didn't even waste any time.
Hey, it's I got two of my best buddies on a show, and I want to talk to them. I've known Ryan Pena for many years, and also Elias Matar for what? How long has it been now, Elias?
2004, brother.
I know. Gosh, it's been a bit. Yeah, I just wanted to call
I got you.
And show my support for not just Ryan's show and what the cause is, why he has this filmmaker here. This is the first time he has a filmmaker on his show.
No, this is actually the third time. But
the third time.
You're close.
But this one's a different one.
That's right. Yeah.
This one's a different one because Elias. Let me say something to just the.
I haven't said a word, brother.
Wait, hold on. I just want to. I want to just say it. When I first met Elias, we were a lot like each other. We like to tell fictional stories, and we were making up stuff like Chingazo the Clown, like comic book type stuff. But then, as of recently, he sort of like left that, and he started to make this documentary about the refugees in Syria. Not only that, starting campaigns and donating money and water and food to the people when he goes over there to help them out and make these documentaries. And I got to tell you, man, I couldn't be no prouder than that for you, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Ezekiel, I just started the show, so stay with us. But I want to say something. Thank you guys both for calling me and reaching out to do this. I don't really do radio. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do, but I tell you this.
Hey, don't worry about me neither.
All right, cool. Well, it makes two of us. But this is a very personal thing for me. I'm a Syrian American, and I'm just gonna start with what changed my life forever. I was actually doing a fictional film, and it was 2015. I started in April. I was in post-production, and it was around July, August, and the image of people walking through Europe to reach Germany, which is sort of like I don't know what's the image like, because I get really emotional when I think about the moment.
Right.
But I just start watching on TV people literally walking through Europe, landing in Greece and some little rubber boats, and then walking and taking trains and all kinds of stuff, and arriving to what is sort of the Hope Land, is like the Promised Land, which was at that time Germany. And I remember the Hungarian government closing its borders, and very similar to what we're doing right now here, and not allowing people even taking public transportation. So people were start walking. We're talking women, children, babies, and handicapped people walking for hundreds of miles to reach actually Austria. And I saw the imagery, and I said, I got to do something. So called some friends, and basically the idea was to get to Vienna, rent a truck or a bus, and start busing people across borders. It wasn't legal, but it was an idea, and that's how the whole thing started. And when I went to actually arrive to Vienna, and that was September 2015, I didn't want to make a film. I was just there to help people, give them water, food, or whatever hygienic kit. That was the whole idea. But my wife said, "You're a filmmaker. Take a camera, do something," And to just paint this picture, it was actually September, and after driving the rented van with all kinds of water, food, hygienic kits. The idea was, okay, we can't really bus people, so at least make it easy for them. Give them some water, give them some help when they walk. Hungary closed its border, literally. It was militarized border, which is unusual for Europe since World War II, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
And right in... there's a checkpoint between, actually not official checkpoint, but there's a crossing point between Serbia and Croatia. I think you saw the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my first night after 10 hours driving from Vienna to this little no man's land between two countries. That means there's no law over there. There's absolutely no country. Okay, it's just this sort of like the buffer zone between two countries. And the buses will drop off the refugees there coming from the Greek border, and literally just they would walk through between two countries and to arrive, to sort of miraculously arrive in the other country so they can accept them, ship them up. And the irony of it, there was no world power, there was no borders, literally, there was no international organization, there was no Red Cross, there was no UNHCR, UN. And it was like, I would say about 15 international volunteers, including me, at 9 o'clock at night, and we're handing water and food to the people as they walk. Just remember, these two countries, Croatia and Serbia, were at war with each other 20 years ago. So there's still some minefields set between the two countries. They were literally walking through cornfield, and you knew you're in trouble when there's nothing around you, when it's like desolate, when there's like nothing but fog. So we stood right there, and it was like, I think the maximum were about 15 people. We were witnessing war, like world changes. That night, I want to say, I'm getting shivers. That night, I want to say about 9,000, 8,000 people within 24 hours crossed that border. 9,000 people. So that moment, that night, I knew my life will never be the same. And since then, I've been, for the last year and a half, 18 months, I dedicated my life to help people, not necessarily only people crossing, but in different countries, supporting refugees and people who are vulnerable people, I should say.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, are you still on the phone, Ezekiel?
Yeah. No, it's for me, it's different because I know there's not going to be enough time for Elias to tell a lot of his experience. But since we're friends and I talk to him, during his whole experience and this journey he's went on. I've heard down to the details, and it just sounds really, really emotional.
Well, yeah, and you know what emotion I was feeling when you finally told me that? It was fucking anger, you know? I was, God damn it, dude. Here we are friends, right? And he calls me all the time, and he's, hey, Ryan, let's talk about Star Wars. Ryan, let's talk about this the fucking new Kong movie, and that's fun and all. And then he's like, oh yeah, Elias, by the way, is helping Syrian refugees. I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious, man? Do you not know what I do? So anyway, I'm glad that I got to meet you through Ezekiel. So thank you for that, Ezekiel. And I reached out to you, and I don't have plans, but there's something going on in my head all the time. I want to start for the listening audience. Let me do this real quick, okay? This is not about politics whatsoever, okay? So if anybody listening that has their opinions about refugees, and you have negative opinions, you can pretty much go fuck yourself and don't bother calling the show because I won't talk to you. I think it's a bunch of ignorance, and so what I wanted to do is show the listening audience, what it's like to help people. I mean, that's even the name of the show is like anti-racism, and we've got another guest in the studio, but she's a little shy. I won't say what it's all about helping and teaching, right? So let's start from the beginning for the listening audience.
Yeah.
Okay. So because you got to have all this rhetoric about with refugees, and they could possibly be terrorists, and everyone's freaked out and they're scared and they're closing their borders and they don't want people in. And I understand the fear, but help me understand, because I think you have to start at the beginning of a story. Same thing with a movie. Tell me what exactly is going on in Syria.
Okay.
First off, so
I've been since I was driving here. It took me about an hour and a half to get here. So I was through my mind. I was going through what I want to tell you. So I'm going to just paint a small picture.
Yes, please. So everyone understands.
So let me just say this for general American audience in general. There is 1.2 billion Muslims on this planet. 1.2 billion Muslims on this planet. Even if people freak out about ISIS, and in essence, I just want to paint you a picture. The total number of fighters of ISIS are 54,000. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible for me to believe. I'm just painting a small picture. Impossible for me world power can end ISIS. Just saying. Just me personally, okay? So I'm going to talk about the conflict in Syria specifically, and then we'll take it globally, okay? In 2010, what we call the Arab Spring, which started in Tunis, and then it went to Egypt, and from there to Libya and Yemen, and eventually ended in Syria in 2000. Actually, exactly today. I'll tell you the story about today, because this is 6 years ago today changed the whole conflict. So anyway, but I just want to paint a picture. There was a lot of spring, the Arab Spring they call it, and inspired even what we call today here in this country. It was called the Occupied movement. It was all inspired by the same thing, which is basically asking to share the power with the people, being in power, and end sort of like what's the word, suppression. And asking for freedom. That was it. That way it started in Tunis. Just asking for people to be involved instead of being sort of like the power being in charge of the country. Okay, so it wasn't. There's a lot of it. Of course, we know what happened in Egypt. We know what happened in Tunis and all the stuff in Yemen. What happened specifically in Syria in March, exactly 6 years ago? People went to the streets and asked for. Sort of to share the power. They weren't asking for the head of the ruling party, which is Bashar al-Assad. They were actually asking to share the power, share the wealth that is really concentrated in the very few. Okay, I'm just painting a picture here.
Yeah.
And that was in March, actually, exactly 6 years ago. Today marks the first two people who died protesting. Today. Okay.
Wow.
Marked the first two people who died in Daraa, which is a province of Damascus. And at the beginning of the conflict, people were resilient. They wanted to share the power, and they wanted to have the people power. They wanted to end corruption, and they wanted to end suppression and the freedom of expression. And it had all different kind of shapes and form. People from all religions and all backgrounds actually went to the streets and protested. And the reaction of the government in Syria was so severe. I mean, just imagine a 14-year-old kid coming back in a body bag or a bullet hole or burnt or something like that back to their parents, just because he drew a picture of a freedom, sort of a symbol of a freedom for the people of Syria. So it became very violent. The reaction of the government in Syria was extremely violent toward the protesters. And eventually the protesters started picking up arms. And there was also within the army itself sort of brigades, what we call the Free Army, Syrian Free Army, which basically separated from the actual the government and created this power to actually protect the protesters and then protect the most vulnerable pockets of revolution or of residents, of the people who live in the sort of people who the areas that actually I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time finding the word, but the people who did not accept the power of the government. Okay. And that evolved into what we see today, a proxy war. Of course, like Syria is not unique to that. We've seen it through the history. But what made Syria very unique in essence, because it's strategic position. So in an essence, for example, it's how do you describe it? So when the protesters became armed, and to protect the population, and the army split into two, which is the government army and the Free Army. That, for example, what happened, it forced the country, the government, to pull its troops from the borders and put them in the government, in the cities, to sort of suppress this revolution, if that makes any sense. Of course, everybody got involved and everybody started supporting. And then when you open the borders, when you actually have nothing to protect your borders, anybody can come in. And then the government invited Iran and invited Hezbollah from Lebanon and other forces. Of course, the resistance was supported by us here in the U.S. and by the West and believe it or not, Saudi Arabia and Turkey. And eventually it turned into sort of this proxy war, which you have many armies and you have many interests and the country is divided. What we see today is basically 75% of infrastructure is destroyed. Syria's population before the revolution was 23 million. It's you have 11 million have lost their homes. 11 million lost their homes. Wow. 8 million lives outside Syria and 3 within the border of Syria, still refugees. And that's what we have today. In 2015, just inspired by few people, young men who actually walked through Europe 1,100 or 2,000 miles, or take this insane trip from Cairo to Italy, literally sort of inspired by looking for freedom in Europe, specifically Germany, because Germany, in its law, if you show up in its border and you come from a country torn by war, they give you sort of asylum. And especially if your life is threatened. I'm not sure if I'm talking too long and I'm painting a picture, but
no, we got it. Yeah.
Okay.
We got it. It's interesting, especially when you start mentioning how it's a proxy war, how other forces come in.
Right.
Because I didn't really know exactly what was going on. I knew there was a civil war, and
it's really not a civil war. It's more of a proxy war. Civil war is when you have two people fighting equal power.
It started as a civil war, right? And then it kind of just morphed into something else.
Yeah, I mean, definition of civil war is kind of murky a little bit when you say equal powers within the country fight over the control of the power, but you're talking about a government with its mighty fighting people like with stick and stones. You know what I'm saying? So that's for me. It's hard for me to call it civil war for me personally.
Okay, all right, no, fair enough.
A conflict, I should say.
Right.
And then just to finish painting the picture right now. For example, in 2015, in this country, we received a total of 900 refugees from Syria. 900 only, 2015, where Europe received 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay? Just to paint a picture. In 2016, under the Obama administration, he promised a course of 100,000 in 3 years. We've received, I want to say, a total of probably maybe 25,000. And I just want to say something about terrorism and essence and refugees. Those refugees are escaping the same thing.
Yeah, they're escaping the terrorists.
That's exactly what it is. Governments and suppression, and you're talking about like it's ironic that this country is built on refugees and asylum seekers, and you know what I'm saying. Like there's not except the Native Americans, and Nation One. We are all visitors, man. You know, we're all refugees, every single one of us.
Exactly. And let me say this too, because I get a little ornery doing it. So, when I was telling the listening audience, you can go fuck yourself. Well, you can, but I guess, how do I say it better? I'd do this better if I had a beer.
Yeah.
But I just look at life differently than most people, I guess. Well, not most people, but I look at life through the eyes of a father, as a human being, and that's what I'm saying. I don't even worry about the whole terrorism thing. I just see people that need help, and the fact that you go over there, man, it blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, how the whole thing started is I just wanted to help. I wasn't thinking. I'm not picking sides. I'm not a political person. I'm just painting the picture of what I see, what I know. Okay. There's no right and wrong to anything. There is not. We can't demonize humans for their faith. I think it's a wrong thing. We can't ban people from coming to this country because their country or whatever they come from is a majority different than us. Mm-hmm. These things are really scary and counterproductive to us as a nation, as a country, as a human being. So for me, I mean, the main thing, like I want to say, is my focus was to help people. Christmas, not this Christmas, last Christmas, I was on the Greek island of Chios. And we were actually seeing rubber boats of people fleeing Turkey, okay? And our job at that time was winter. It was snowing in the water. Our job is to take the kids, the mom and the dads and the kids, and change their clothes, feed them water, make sure they're not, have hypothermia. And I'm a dad too. My daughter just turned 20 yesterday. My son is 18. It was very hard for me to hold a baby that was not breathing in my arms just because they were escaping. The mom and the father were escaping a war. That was really hard for me to do. We brought lots of people back to life. And wow. I just want to remind you, like, there was no Red Cross, there was no United Nations. It was just international volunteers like me and you, brother, standing on the water with binoculars. Just trying to find like who's coming on the rubber boat, because they only come at nighttime. Most of them, they come at nighttime.
Is that because it's safer?
And because you got Coast Guard from Turkey that would actually literally sink the boat if with people in it. Yeah. So I mean, I spend quite a bit of time in Greece, and then I went across to Turkey and I visited what we call illegal. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like a human trafficking place, which is basically smuggler camp. That's where they actually ship the people in a boat. It's a mafia. But I got a permission to go there and shoot actually inside, and I was with doctors and we helped people. But the idea for me, like what really planted in me, why like it keep changing me, is the fact that our action actually saves lives. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I can't do it by myself. I rely on people who help me, the people who donate money to my campaign. I mean, I'd have no more savings left. I've used every miles I have to travel and to keep going and support. I'm not asking to bring every refugee to this country. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for us to change the idea who they are. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what. Thank you. I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to talk about this show because I sound like an asshole right now. But I want.
You're not, dude.
No, well, I want to introduce people to you because you're Syrian American and you're not a terrorist. You're a damn good filmmaker, is what you are, and a friend of mine. And so I want people to meet. Hear a voice and see his face. Look at this handsome man right here. This guy's helping people. All right. And I saw the documentary, man, and then, man, it.
Yeah, you saw Flight of the Refugees, the first one.
Yeah, man, and it's hard not to even to tear up. I mean, all political bullshit aside, I don't care what you believe in and what you don't. I just don't understand how us as human beings can't care about other human beings. That's the bottom line. I guess that's what I've been trying to say this whole time, is that these are human beings. They're women, they're children, they're dying, and then with me being in a band, there's some songs I've written before that these things scare me. I had a song, it's called "Become Hell," and the song is basically like saying, if you don't help someone else out, who's going to help you when you need help?
Right.
You know what I mean? What if the shoe was on the other foot? What if Donald Trump pisses somebody off and they send a bomb over here, and then we're trying to go to Canada or something? They're like, "Fuck you guys! You didn't help anybody out." I don't know. That's just, it's crazy thinking. Yeah. And I know it's all right. Anyway, let's get back. So, all right. So you've been traveling to Syria.
No,
you're-
Syria, please. I wouldn't survive, dude.
Well, okay,
No,
I'm sorry.
it's
The
okay.
borders, helping crossing.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't
Okay,
mean to
I'm sorry.
interrupt
You've been over in Europe,
Yeah.
and you've been going through many countries. How are the people in the countries that you're going along? Do you find that the people in those countries are they scared of the refugees like a lot of people here are, or are a lot of that? Because I saw them helping, and there's obviously people setting up shops and stuff, and I saw you guys helping with the clothes and donating all the water and the Gatorades and everything like that. But is there in each country, would you say that people are open and receptive to refugees or not?
It's a very dicey subject, and it depends on the period of time. I mean, 1.8 million people from... actually, let me just rephrase this. 1.8 million refugees arrived between 2015 and 2016. I would say only about 1 million of them are actually Syrian. The rest are Afghanis and Iraqi, some other minorities. So other countries, I'm sorry. But let me just share this with you because I want to answer that first question. Yes, I traveled to Europe when people were walking through. I went to Greece and Turkey, also help with maybe receiving people. Now, I don't aid people I don't give them plans how to escape. I don't, we just say, we stand at points where we can actually save somebody's life.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a zero political interest in any of that. To answer your questions about refugees and how they felt in different countries, they were very intimidated, a lot of the countries. Even though a lot of people didn't say, a lot of refugees said, I don't want to stay in Hungary, I don't want to stay in Croatia, I don't want to stay in I don't even stay in any of the country. I want to go to Germany, I want to go to Norway, I want to go to Sweden. It just seems like these are the three countries with the most open heart. And of course things happened like in these countries when the number of refugees increased massively. But I have to say this, Germany and Norway and Sweden probably received the best of the Syrian people. The doctors, the engineers, the lawyers, the craftsmen, the musician. In the second documentary, I made 3 documentaries. The first one is Fly of the Refugee. It's all under the umbrella of Fly of the Refugee. So you want to see any of my work, you can go to the website. It's flyoftherefugees.com. But the Fly of the Refugees, it's basically on the Balkans, which is basically Serbia, Croatia, Macedonia, and Slovenia. And this is basically between Greece and Austria. These are all the countries laid up, so that people to walk through. And then the second documentary it was that I made, it was between in Greece and Turkey. But I want to say something about the second documentary it's called Exodus. The musician that I use, he's actually a Syrian refugee. He's a violinist. And the way that I saw a picture of him, when he went on a rubber boat, he wasn't wearing lots of clothes. He has a small backpack, and he had the violin. He was holding it up right above as he's walking through the water, like walking from the boat on the shores with the violin, because that was his life's possession, that violin. And I recorded that violin, and it's in Exodus. If you actually listen to it, you can hear it. And his music almost cries. I'm getting goosebumps. But the idea for me that I want to answer, yes, people were terrified at the beginning with the refugees till they got to know them, till they got to see them and meet them, and see how amazing these people are. They're resilient. They're fighting. They're fleeing fighting. They're looking for a peaceful place to call home.
Right.
That's the main thing. You know what I'm saying? If the terrorists want to go, they trust me, they would not go through the shit the refugees gone through. It's insane, brother.
Right.
Okay? That's all I have to say. And the idea of all these little things that happen in Europe has nothing to do, has nothing to do with the refugees. They're homegrown. All the shit that happened in France and all different, it's homegrown.
Right.
Nothing to do with the refugees enter this country. Not this country, but their country.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say something, and I just to paint the picture. All these borders has been, closed, militarized. People don't move anywhere. There's no more motion of people coming from Greece to Europe. It's from Turkey to Greece. Very little. Okay.
Are they all in like camps now?
Now whoever's left behind. No, Turkey, for example, has 2.7 million refugees. 2.7 Syrian refugees. Lebanon, which is a very, very small country, it's 1/14 the size of California, has 2.5 million Syrian refugees. Jordan has almost 2 million. So you have small little countries right around Syria that has about 7 to 8 million Syrian refugees. And the most dangerous part right now is actually Lebanon. Not dangerous, but the most vulnerable for refugees. We have about 800 Syrian refugees living in temporary camps right on the Syrian border with no education, no water, very little water, I should say. Food rations are insane. 800,000 people. This is the largest catastrophe since World War II. We're talking about human disaster right now.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about, you mentioned Trump and this country. I want to say this to you. The powers in this country, okay, and politicians and the people in power have divided this country, very polarized it between with and against, okay? And in essence, that they get us busy with the idea that somehow one person can really change this giant of a country, and then divide us into two against each other. In the process, hiding the largest genocide in the history since World War II. Okay, they're hiding it. We're talking about refugees, which is terrifying. They paint this picture that 1.2 billion Muslims on this planet, they're bad. They want to paint that.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And the reality of it, okay, where our government is involved in creating all this madness. We have troops in the ground today in Syria.
Yeah.
Okay, in Iraq and in Syria. And they're not necessarily fighting on one side or the other. They're carving in a place of power. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get started on theories, getting
Right.
into the Rothschilds.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
We
can go forever.
But
But the idea is not to pick sides. For me, is the idea to say I am a humanitarian worker. I am a volunteer. Okay, I am dedicating my life to change, to help people. Okay, I've been focusing in the last year specifically on Lebanon because that is the most vulnerable place for me. So I focus on food. We get food. We get money for medical surgeries. That's the big thing for us. I mean, just want to tell you a big picture. Lebanon as a government, countries as a government, they get a lot of aid, but the money doesn't trickle down to support the refugees, support the most vulnerable. It's people like me and you. Okay, think $25 will feed a family for a month.
Perfect segue. Okay, because again, let's clarify this again real quick, because that's the one thing, Elias, we talked about that on the phone, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to get too much into politics on this show. So here's the thing. My bosses at work, some of the people I work with, some are Republicans, and they're the nicest people I've ever fucking met, and they do the most charity work, and they're awesome. I got a lot of other friends that are Democrats, and they do a lot of charity work, and they're awesome. That's right. We should stop. There's enough with the division and being on one. There should only be one side. There's only one race. There's one human race. So as human beings, we need to help each other. And again, let's go right back to the beginning when I heard that you were doing this. So you have 3 documentaries out under the Flight of the Refugees. What's the website? One more time. Let's make sure we keep plugging that. So
Flightoftherefugees.com. Flightoftherefugees.com.
Cool. Go and check that stuff out. And then you also you started your nonprofit organization.
That's right. The nonprofit organization, it's called Lighthouse Peace Initiative Corp. And the website is lpicorp.org. And what this particular organization that I started is basically helping the most vulnerable. Mm-hmm. We have 800,000 vulnerable Syrian refugee in Lebanon on the Syrian border. I mean, there's other pockets, but that's the one I'm focusing on, because I think for me, I'm just one person, man.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can't spread myself, too wide. So I focus. So I work on. I just want to plug in what I do real quick.
Absolutely.
In this nonprofit, my focus is education. I mean, beside aid is important, like food, medical services. In the wintertime, we get heating oil, like basic stuff. I mean, just last Christmas, we had a bunch of children froze to death under my watch. So we were like running between one camp and another, providing heating oil. But just you have to understand, what I could do is donation from people. That's basically it. The second thing that's really big is education. Okay, I'm just going to paint this picture. There is 500,000 children under the age of 18. Only 17% of them are getting education. And the reason why, many reasons. So what
Wow.
I focus on is creating sort of like what I'm focused on is creating sort of schooling to get these kids ready to go to school, like to sort of empower them, to give them an edge so they can actually go to public schools in Lebanon. So these are my main two focus, because if we wait another 5 years or 10 years, you know, for these people to go back home or to do anything, I'm just saying you're going to end up with 1 million very, very angry teenagers. And God help us all if that happens. That's all I have to say. You know, and then Syria is, by the way, one of our many fuck ups, I have to say. We're talking about Iraq. We're talking about Afghanistan. These are like just the size of our, how do you say this? Our corruption. I don't know, like whatever. We keep supporting this insanity, like these wars, and we take sides. And I keep saying, we as American people have to focus on the humanitarian work. We have to focus on saving lives. We have to focus on saying no to war and yes to human beings. You know, I don't know if I made any sense.
No, absolutely, man. That's amazing, man. I'm gonna have to bring you back onto the show because we've been eating up the clock pretty quickly here.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's great, man. It's great. But I want to talk about films and stuff too. But this is the main focus, I think, for right now. So, you just did a showing of which film was it? Fly the Refugees?
Yeah. What I do, and it's really, thank you for saying that. I do public speaking, and I do I show a film and then I speak, and I do that at universities and colleges. It's on the website. It's always on the website is whatever next screening is. It goes on the first homepage, and then if you follow, you see all the screenings. I will be in Berkeley, UC Berkeley, UCSD San Diego. I'm also doing USC. I go up to Portland State University, and so I speak in colleges, I speak in events. Next Sunday is actually the third documentary. It's called Children of Becca, and I'm showing it at the Zen Center in Los Angeles. It's open to public. We seat only like 75 people, but if you're interested in see some of my work, so that's important. So there's always, actually, believe it or not, every single documentary, even the one, for example, I got that distribution on the Exodus, which is the second one, with a Canadian company, and it's going to go global. Sometimes in April, it'll be available everywhere. It'll be on my website too. And the first one is available in Vimeo, as I told you, and it's probably going to be available many different places. But the thing is, go to the website, tells you where it's screening. If you want to hear me speak, if you have questions specifically, just come and visit. I'm open to people when they show the film, they know there'll be an hour after that Q&A and questions, and I'm more than happy to talk about this crisis, because this is something really important. And I'm so glad you brought me to this to the TV show radio station, because in essence, if you talk about, for example, I'm just thinking about the Ramones back in the 80s and thinking about what punk rock is in general. It really talks about a revolution of music and how it sort of evolved into something very powerful. And it's part of many other music today even, okay? And that's all I'm just trying to do is what we do today. What I'm trying to do is basically change. And instead of thinking about war and how, what sides we're on, do the opposite. Go help somebody. Man, you don't have to go with me to Lebanon to support people. You can go down the street and see a homeless person and help. We just have to, as human beings, we have to care for each other.
Yeah, here's a quote that I want to share with you. It's from a friend of mine who's no longer with us. But man, he used to always say this: "Don't talk about it, be about it."
Yep.
That's the one thing that it drives me nuts living in this country where we, and this will be my quick thing on religion. Okay, and I'll try to keep it quick, because if you listen to the show, I don't fucking like that shit at all. The problem that I see with our nation is that it's mostly Christian, right? And I see all these churches, and I see everyone coming out, and especially like even on my street, people walking down the street, like even Jehovah's Witnesses, they're dressed all nice and they've got all their pamphlets on all their shit that they're gonna try to feed you on and get you to join their cult or their church or whatever they call it. And you get the homeless people that are walking right by, and I'm like, I thought in the Bible Jesus was like a pretty cool cat, said help the poor, that was the whole message. I went to church, I heard that. I try to do my best every single time I can, my company that I work for, because believe it or not, punk rock doesn't pay the bills, all right? So I'm actually I'm an exterminator. and I work for Craig and Sons in Redlands, and we donate so much stuff to group homes, to homeless shelters, battered women's shelters. I mean, all this stuff, and it's a constant everyday thing. And that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because sometimes I just see so much negativity everywhere, and I'm very proud of you, brother, that you're actually doing that, man. You're not talking about it, dude. You're being about it, man.
Thank you.
That's the way to do. Help somebody, man. And that was an interesting thought to me, was that you're saying that it's only $25 to feed a family of 4 for a month. Is that a month?
Food rations are the basic stuff that we give, and actually it's enough for the body for a family. Family usually anything between 6 to 8 people. So yes, it's like rice, beans, sugar, a little tea, just lentil, like basic stuff. Yeah, $25. $25 is a food ration for a family for a month. I just want to say some of the stuff that because you said something really beautiful about helping people. Everybody has a call. Everybody has a call. Even like some of the biggest donors for me, it comes from religious organization. Muslim, Christian, and Jews, and many other Buddhists really donated to my campaign for the last year and a half. I think something really personal for me. Everybody's relationship with God or the Creator or whatever power you believe in, it's very personal. And I don't think there's one religion in this planet or one ideology in this planet does not say be kind to your fellow human being. So I think for me, it's not about the religion. It's about how we interpret our being. And I believe in everybody on this planet has a purpose. And I believe everybody in this planet has a kind part in them. Okay? So I think what I'm speaking to is speaking to the kind part of every human being, saying we can make a difference.
There you go.
We can make a difference. Any individual person. I went to high school, and these girls, after they watched the movie, the third one, Children of Becca, they were like, "What can we do? Like, God, it's just so far. It makes me feel hopeless." I said, "Do you see the girl next to you that you weren't a friend or you were very upset with her? Make peace with her. Be kind to the girls in your school, the ones you didn't even like. Be kind to them, because that's how we turn the tide." You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of darkness in this world today.
Yeah.
Okay? And how do we fight darkness? Not by branching a sword, by lighting our light. And I believe each human being has a light like a candle. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we can be the light in the darkness. Each one of us can be.
That's but you say it so eloquently, and then I'm up here with blabbering on with my filthy mouth and probably pissing more people off. But no, again, I believe in freedom and I believe in happiness. If you want to believe whatever you believe, that's fine, but you shouldn't impose your beliefs on anybody else. And I guess what I was speaking to about when I was going on my little rant is hypocrisy is what I don't like. You know what I mean? Don't talk about it, be about it. You know what I mean? If you're supposed to help people, go out there and help them. And then the other thing I'll say one last thing on that note. If you're going to do that because it's the right thing to do, not because you want to take a video of it and show it on Facebook and get people to to think you're cool.
Right.
You're not what you do. Yours is different. Yours is different because
Okay.
you're helping people and you're raising money. And so, one more time, what's the website that people can donate to?
Right now, go to flightoftherefugees.com, and there is a action button which is goes to the GoFundMe page. Within 24 hours, LPI. It's lpicorp.org, which is my non-profit organization, will be also up. It'll be also on the website or the Flight of the Refugees, directing you there. So the main thing at this point, go to the flightoftherefugees.com, and then you can see everything I've done. I just want to share a last thing. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Are we done on the time?
We're good.
Okay. Just you inviting me on this show is actually changing. Do you see what I'm saying? You are taking my message and you're sharing it with people. You've already done a kind work today.
Well, thank you, man. But
do you know what I'm saying? No, let me take the compliment, motherfucker.
All right, there you go.
Take the compliment. All I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, your kind work to bring me here and let me speak to people, your show, your audience, is already a kind act. You are already lighting a candle and sharing the peace message with a lot of people, and it's really important. But thank you.
You're welcome, my friend. Thank you very much for being a good human being. And thanks for being my friend and a great filmmaker. I want to. You definitely got to come back on here when you get some
I
time,
will.
and we'll talk about more positive
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. I mean, there's other we've done I've done 3 documentaries. It's true, but I'm also a fictional filmmaker, and
And you do good work, man. I mean, you do good work. I vouch for it. You know, I've actually worked with the man. We actually shot a music video together years ago.
we did with Ezekiel's house, right?
Yeah.
What was it called? On a rainy and stormy night?
Wasn't it? Stormy night, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it. Yeah, you can hear Ezekiel. Dan just joined us. What's up, Dan? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing? I just have a question for your guest.
Go for it, brother.
Being a representative for Anheuser-Busch for 8 years, I've gotten to know a lot of liquor store owners. A lot of them are Syrian birth, and a lot of them, I consider them dear friends.
Thank you.
But they say they like Bershad. We need to keep Bershad in place.
Right.
Most of them say that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And this is sort of like a very standard reaction you get from Syrian American. Actually, a bit more defined in the and I'll break it down as much as I know. A lot of the Christian Syrians who arrived to this country, I want to say from 1940s till about 1990s, and especially a lot of people in the liquor store, they're specifically from provinces that came in the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. A lot of them actually are Christians, and somehow they associate sort of like they turn a blind side, in my opinion, to what really I was raised as Christian. I just want to tell you this, so I know the rhetoric, and I'm not a Christian. I'm just saying I was raised that way, and I know the rhetoric, and I hear the rhetoric. And then when I go to sort of like ask them to donate money, they say, "Are you helping Muslims?" I said, "I don't check on their ID to see if they're Muslim or Christians." He said, "No, we only help Syrian Christians." So I get it, brother, and I get it what they're saying. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's what I love about this country, is we all can be okay. But for me personally, for me, is I'm not gonna pick Bashar al-Assad or the government or anybody. I am there for the people. I am there to help the refugees, the most vulnerable refugees. There is like 2 Syrian families here in Glendale that we help. And then yesterday, just to paint a picture, we went to a Shabbat dinner of a friend of my house. So here is a Christian, Muslim, and Jew celebrating the Shabbat dinner, okay? And then everybody was honored and everybody prayed in their own religion. This is what makes this country amazing. I feel for me, for the Syrians who are here and settled here, to open their eyes a little bit more. It's just me personally. And just remember where they came from. They were refugees before.
Right.
Okay. And somehow they have a rite of passage now, because they're American, that they don't want to allow somebody from their own nation to come because they're slightly different. So I hear you. I don't pick sides of a war. I am with the human beings, and I'm with the most vulnerable.
I appreciate it. I practice the same thing, but here on our territory, like with the homeless, do I have them make a drug test before I bring them a free meal? No, I don't.
That's right.
I just want to make sure they're fed. That's all.
And I think that's the power of our action, being kind to each other and be kind to people. There's a lot of vulnerable people all over the planet. Okay, there's vulnerable people in our neighborhood. There's vulnerable people. There's rich vulnerable people. The thing is, every person has a calling, and to respond to that calling, because I agree with you, being kind is the most important thing.
Exactly. Thank you for answering.
That's
That's all I got.
Okay.
No, I'm impressed, Dan. I don't care what anybody says about you. You're all right. Your show coming up next?
Yes, it is.
See, and look, and there's a positive thing, because it's like the yin and yang. I mean, today is amazing because you're in here. Usually, I have some foul mouth, a punk rock band in here. We're drinking beer and we're talking shit, and and then Dan comes out here and he's actually helping people. You know what he does? His show is right after mine, and his is what? It's Punks in Recovery, right?
Rock to Recovery
Rock
or
to
Punk
Recovery.
to Recovery. It's
Amazing.
mostly punk bands because that's what I grew up in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he helps. They talk about sobriety and helping people out, and you do help people out, dude. So, congratulations to you too.
Thank you.
That's
that's
you do
good.
you do a good thing as well, and like you said, you can. There's a million different things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think just want to say something about homeless people and people in recovery. I think it's really ironic, but it's all connected in essence. You have to leave your own being, like you have to leave this thing of saying I, okay, and share and look at your neighbor or look at your partner, or you look at around you and say, what do they need? What do they need? Why do I need? What do I want? Can we make it a little bit bigger and say, what is my neighbor? What is this kid that you just saved his life because you put him in rehab?
Right.
Okay, like why can't we do more of that?
I wish I could do more. I do plenty, but
No, I'm not talking about me and you. I'm talking about other people.
yeah, I wish other people would do more too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys both for what you do. We're running out of time here on the show. Mike, do you have any questions for Elias? Because I know you work in film. Sorry, it got real deep, man, real fast.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you got on one in a whole other subject there.
But anyway, Elias, let me introduce Mike, my engineer. He works in film as well.
Okay.
And so I told him I wanted to start introducing you. And Ezekiel, you're on the phone too. I want you to meet my buddy Mike, and he wants to start working in some more films, right? I got that right?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's what I try to do all the time. I work on student films. I work on independent films, low budget, ultra low budget, so forth and so on. Trying to do more and get into any project I can get on, pretty much.
I have a question for you. Are you a writer, director, or are you an actor? What is your interest in indie films?
I've done a wide range of from DP to PA to AD to direct, produce, line producer, things like that. A wide range of things.
Awesome. Ezekiel and I, we always talk about the same thing. You have an idea, write the story, and go fucking shoot it. I'm telling you, man, don't wait for anybody to give you permission to make your movie.
Oh, I've shot many short films.
Awesome.
We've shot.
So the next thing I think that you want to do a feature, I would imagine.
Yeah, I have a feature that we wrote several years ago. We just could never get funding for it, and it just kind of went into the drawer.
I tell you this, one of the first film that I actually worked on as an indie film, this is a feature. It's called Butterfly, and my partner Edward wrote the film, and
Edward Romero,
and I basically shot the film for him. I co-produced it and shot the film. We shot it over 4 weekends, man. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, we looked for donation. I think we shot it even SAG. It was like ridiculous how much money we didn't have to shoot the film. So I'm just saying, don't wait for funding, man. When it comes to indie films, just go do it with what you got. That's all I have to say, because everything is possible. Always, there's a lot of partners. The minute you actually say, I'm going to make this movie, the minute you walked into that space and say, I'm going to make a movie, okay, you're already changing the world.
Okay.
And then it's like, it's a silly thing they say, you build it, they will come. I so believe in that. You say, I'm going to shoot the film in March. Let's say you're going to shoot it in April 30th, and I have 10 days worth of shooting, or I'm going to split into 4 weekends. And then just see how things start working. It's amazing. Don't wait for a budget, because no matter what you're gonna say, you're not gonna ever have enough.
Yeah. I've noticed that you never have enough money. Things always go wrong, so forth and so on. Yeah.
I always just say, just have a screenplay and don't put it in the drawer. Take it out of the fucking drawer. Put it right in front of you. Say, on April 30th, I'm starting to shoot. I'm shooting for like 4 weekends. And just see how magic turns. People want to make movies, man. People will get involved with you making movies. I just want to say last thing about Flight of the Refugee, the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. I had 2 cameras, a shitty mic. Okay. And the imagery that came in from Flight of the Refugee, the documentary, was insane, because I had to say, I want to make this. I want to share this story. The power of this story was bigger than me. Mm-hmm. I'm getting shivers. It was bigger than me. The power of the story. It needed to be told in this insane world, okay? And you go back, listen to the movies, a lot of wind, because it was so windy. I had a shitty mic. I mean, it was like a $22 mic that I had, okay?
Oh, I thought it added to the film. I mean, you sounded, it felt like you were
right there with them.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I was. And as a filmmaker, I just want to say, with a lot of my documentaries, I don't sit there and interview. People might come and talk to me about stuff, but I am working. Actually, I have a camera person, I have a mic on me, and I'm working. I'm pulling kids out of the water. I'm changing clothes. I'm doing other stuff. I'm not sitting there interviewing people. If people want to come talk to me, it's okay. I cooked in a kitchen. You know, to feed like 180 people, like on a freaking small little island. You know what I'm saying? That there were 6 of us, all from different countries, trying to feed like 500, 600 people that were like literally starving. So anyway, but thank you again.
Well, here, can I say something just really quick?
Run, Forrest, run.
I wanted to say there's something, that's interesting about, being an artist, whether it's a musician, a painter, or a filmmaker, or a writer. You have to try and figure out why. I always ask myself that question, why now? And it really, when Elias told me, well, I don't want to make movies about killer clowns and stuff. I want to do this, something that means something. But when you make a movie, whether it's not, if it has nothing to do with helping refugees, which is so beautiful what you're doing, Elias.
Thank you.
But when you make a movie,
right,
whether it's an independent film, a short film, or anything it is, you're still helping people because you're making them forget about their day for that couple of minutes.
That's true. I just want
hour.
to, I just want to say, like, thank you for bringing me in the show. This is freaking awesome. I want to say thank you, Ezekiel, for hooking us together, and Mike back there. And then I just want to say the power of filmmaking, I should say, in essence, is shedding a light on places where nobody wants to talk about. Press doesn't cover. The world doesn't give it power. As a filmmaker, you have responsibility to share what you see with the world. I just want to put a shout out for 3 amazing people that I worked in the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon, the Syrian border. There's an organization, my organization work with, it's called Salam LADC. And the 3 people I really want to mention, I want to thank is Martin, Lauren, and Joseph. These 3 people are saving lives every day, in the thousands. Okay, and I work with them all the time. We're creating amazing partnership. But I want to say, without Salam LADC, without Martin, Lauren, and Joseph, the world, Lebanon, could have been really, really sad. And they are saving lives every day. Me and you on the show, they're saving life right now, and all that is possible because of people actually donate money. We don't get funding. We don't get like, how do you say, grants or anything. Our funding is from donation, period.
So please help. You guys are listening. We got to wrap up the show. Elias, my brother.
Thank you, brother. So it's flightoftherefugees.com. Go to the website and then donate. Do what you can.
Check this out now. This is I'm going to take us out here with you guys are watching on YouTube right now. I picked something special for this. The song it had to be something special. Check this out, Elias. This is this is the album. It's actually a Christmas album, but this is the song, and I think you're gonna dig this.
Let me hear it. And it's red.
It's red, and
like a pinkish red. Ezekiel, listen to this, brother.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Black Lung Show. This is Joey Ramone. What a wonderful world.